This is the audio test of Honor 200. It's using portrait video or cinematic in 1080p. It has 50 megapixel main, 50 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra wide. It's also half the price as Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. And this is Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, 50 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 8 megapixel telephoto. So I think that's it for the portrait video and the audio test. Now let's check some portrait shots. On the widest field of view, Galaxy S24 FE is wider than Honor 200, and zooming in closely to the subject, you would notice that S24 FE has stronger contrast than the competition, also natural looking, while Honor 200 has beautification mode on, you will have lighter skin and warmer too. The edge detection is pretty impressive on both phones. You would notice that Samsung is also producing creamier background blur with bigger bokeh balls. On Honor 200, you would lose details on the face. Again, it's a matter of personal preference. If you want a more beautified look, then this is the phone for you. On 2X, both phones have some sort of beautification. Even S24 Fan Edition has beautification mode on. You would see that the face is a little bit smaller in real life, but you would still see details on the face. You will have bigger bokeh balls on S24 FE while it's a little bit washed out on Honor 200. You will still have a little bit of bokeh balls, but not as strong as Samsung competition. Also, if you look on the face, the shadows are gone and the skin tone is blending across my face. Going for the zoom, it's a different implementation. You have 3 times optical zoom on S24 FE and you only have 2.5x on Honor 200. That focal length is a little bit off. I think it's around 60 to 70mm portrait shot, so you're not really punching in on the subject that much. On this mode, you will see that the face distortion is gone, but I like the more natural look and a little bit beautified portrait on Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. The only problem I have with Samsung is, it's not as sharp as Honor 200. The skin tone is a little bit greenish too. On the selfie shooter, I think both phones are exaggerating the beauty mode. Even on Samsung S24 FE, you would see it goes neck to neck with Honor 200. But here I would go with Honor 200 because you have 50 megapixel sensor, so you'd see a lot of details on my face. This is the selfie video recording using Honor 200. It has 50 megapixel selfie camera in 4K 30 FPS. And this is the selfie video recording of Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition in 4K 30 FPS, but the resolution of this phone is only 10 megapixel using the selfie camera. We have a vlogging mode on both phones. We have multi-video on Honor 200, and we call this dual rec or dual video recording on Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. Two different price point, one is half the price of the competition, but both phones will deliver ultra-wide main and optical zoom. Right off the bat, you will notice that Galaxy S24 FE is natural looking, while you have a boosted colors and warmer on Honor 200. I kinda like the colors on the mid-range Honor, but again, this is a matter of personal taste. Exposure is also different. You have a better exposed photos on Honor 200, but I also dig the darker and more contrasty look of S24 FE. Indoors, you would notice that the colors on Honor 200 is a little bit amplified compared to S24 Fan Edition, and the Samsung phone is pretty much producing what you can see in real life. It's also closer to the implementation of iPhone and Pixel. The main sensors are pretty much the strongest sensors of all three because you will have autofocus area on the images, which is pretty nice. You will have a wider field of view in S24 FE, but in terms of telephoto, you have 50 times on Honor 200. Checking the slow motion, both phones has full HD 240 FPS, which is nice for a mid-ranger, but I wouldn't categorize S24 FE as a mid-range. I think it's a flagship phone because you also have UHD 120 FPS, which is pretty impressive. Side-by-side video quality and stabilization test. We're starting with the ultra-wide lens. So this is the exposure of the ultra-wide lens on both phones. 0.7x on Honor 200 and 0.6x, a little bit wider on S24 Fan Edition. We're wiggling the phones a little bit for you to see the stabilization. Now switching to the main sensor. Again, looking at the quality of the video. Again, wiggling the phones a little bit for you to see the stabilization. Which phone is better? And they both have 3x. Looking at the quality. And we're testing the stabilization again. Which phone is better? Both phones are capable of night shots and both phones are pretty good. You have better exposed photos on Fan Edition. It also manages the highlights really well. You would see more information on strong light source. It also exposes the shadows better. If you look on a side-by-side test, I think pretty much everyone will pick S24 FE over Honor 200. But if you don't do comparison, I think for the price it offers, Honor 200 is a champ. You would notice that colors are popping out a little bit more on S24 FE in most cases. I just don't like the purplish look on the ultra-wide lens of Honor 200, but pretty much it's a toss on the main sensor and telephoto. This is the low-light video test of Honor 200 in 4K 30 FPS using the 50 megapixel sensor. A quick 360 for you to see the exposure and video quality. Now let's check Samsung. Now this is Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition using the selfie camera, 10 megapixel 4K 30 FPS. Again, another 360 for you to see the difference. We're also using the internal microphones on both phones. Which do you think is better? And for our last test, this is the rear camera. In 4K 30 FPS, we're starting with the ultra-wide lens. Now we're switching to the main sensor. And this is the main sensor. It's so much better than the ultra-wide lens for both phones. Which do you think is better? And we're also switching to 3x. Autofocus is hunting on Honor 200. So yeah, which phone do you think is better? If you enjoyed this video and you get the answers you need, don't forget to hit that like button. Hands down, I think Galaxy S24 FE is the winner of this comparison test. The rear cameras are superior in terms of video recording and slow motion. I think in low light recording, S24 FE crushes the competition. But if you don't want to spend twice as much as the price of Honor 200, plus the fact that you're running on Snapdragon processor and really good screen, I think the colors on Honor 200 is pretty darn good. And I feel like the selfie camera of this phone is better on portrait and daylight video.